Hello and welcome to Assets Tech Tips. Today we are going to do an updated video on how to share a folder using a Windows 10 Home Edition or Professional Edition client. Here we have a Windows 10 Home Edition client. Let's take a quick look to show you. Windows 10 Home. I do not recommend sharing folders this way. I think this way is outdated. However, some of you insist on it, so here's how it's done. Open up File Explorer, go to the root of your disk, right-click, create a new folder, give the folder a name. This will be the folder that you store your data in, or you store your additional folders to share in. So we could have one called you get the idea. So let's go, right click, sharing, share. Oops, that's not the way we want to do it. We want to click on advanced sharing. Make sure the name is correct. Permissions. And for the sake of this video, I am not going to do individual permissioning because realistically you cannot do it with a client operating system if you do not have an active directory. It's too complicated, it's a waste of time, and the amount of problems you will run into outweigh the functionality of actually having it. I'm going to recommend to you two better ways to share data after I've shown you this. So here we're going to share whatever goes into that folder with absolutely everyone. Check the boxes. If you want only the people to be able to read, have only read, change, make your decision. Once it's done, click on apply, OK, apply, OK, and close. And the last one. Now for this one, I'm going to change the share name to simply temp. Notice the UNC path. 10 home is the host name of this machine, as you can see here. Temp is the name of the folder. So now let us check all the shares that are available on this host machine. You can put this into a run box, or you can also just pop it into an Explorer window. Doesn't matter. Here you can see our new shares, and whatever data you put in there will be available to everyone who is a part of your local area network. This is essentially the same for Windows 10 Professional. The differences between Home and Pro aren't that much. Windows 10 Home Edition is essentially Windows 10 Professional with a few features stripped out, such as the ability to make groups and users, which I shall show you here now. So this one here is from Windows 10 Professional, local users and groups. This one here is from Windows 10 Home Edition, no local users and groups. So the problem we have here is that we can't really do any decent permissioning because we don't have an Active Directory server. And it's a little bit too difficult to set this up because you are going to have conflicts and issues with the machines trying to connect, because they will need to sign in with the user accounts that you create here, which will in turn use up all of your your NetUse connections, and you're going to have to go into command prompt and clear out your net connections, and it's a mess. So this is why I'm not recommending it. Now you know how to do that. I'm going to show you my first recommendation, which is to use a cloud-based service such as OneDrive. OneDrive comes installed by default on all Windows 10 machines. You just click on Start and type in OneDrive. When you press Enter, you'll be asked to sign in. If you don't have a OneDrive account, go on over to the OneDrive website and sign up. As far as I know, out of the box, you get 5 gigs with OneDrive for free. And for a little bit more money, such as $2, you get 50. So to be honest with you, I think These here are very, very, very reasonable prices. I understand some of you might not be the fondest of subscriptions. However, you are also getting fault tolerance, data security, and prevention of data loss when you use this service. So, to give you a bit of a preview, here we have the OneDrive local. I click on it, I open it up, and you can see the local data. Here we have one folder that has already been synced locally, and anything that I put in here will automatically sync up to the cloud, meaning when I damage this machine, I just need to get another computer, sign in, and all my data will still be there. Recently, I added a second folder to be synced to my machine, and as you can see here, it is in the process of being synced. Here, you can see the progress of its syncing. You can also view OneDrive and work from OneDrive as easily as you can locally using their cloud, which is easily accessible by clicking on View Online, or like you saw earlier on, opening up a web browser, going to Google and typing in OneDrive. Now this account doesn't have two-factor authentication enabled. OneDrive does offer two-factor authentication, so if you need additional security when you're signing in, you enter in your password. Once you've done that, a message is then sent to your mobile telephone where you enter in the code that is sent to you back into this system, and then only then do you see this screen. I know that this works because I use an enterprise grade of OneDrive, as you can see here. Many of them. Loads of OneDrive's accounts. So here's all my data that's up on the cloud, and I can very easily make, break, delete, share, and whatnot. I don't even need to worry about data fault tolerance because I don't have to manage any disks. It's all in the cloud in a data center managed by Microsoft. Microsoft security is very good. So the failure of disks isn't a concern of mine. Maybe, however, I've got a big project and I muck up the end of my file and I save it by accident. And now every time I open up the file, I've got work that is changed or missing or is not good. No worries. By default, OneDrive comes with versioning. So when you open up a folder and you go to the file in question, you can go and look at versions. Now I've only got one version on this, but if I were to have made an error here, I just click on the file from the 24th of July 2018 and jump back to it because that was the last time I made a change to that file. If I delete data, I simply click onto Recycle Bin and then I can restore whatever I've deleted. Awesome. Job done. So this is why OneDrive is epic. And then to wrap it up with OneDrive, sharing. When people share stuff with you, it pops up in here. Now, I don't think anyone's sharing anything with me here at the moment, but if they were, I'd see their shares listed here. For me to share things with other people, I simply select either a file or a folder that I want to share, and I select Share. Here I've got the possibility to choose a couple of things. Anyone, specific people, people who already have a certain access, people within my organization. Am I going to allow them to edit, or am I not going to allow them to edit? My choice. I can set an expiration date on when I would like them to have it. So for example, if I'm doing a backup and I put that backup online and I say to the user, only you have access to that backup will be available for 30 days, and after 30 days it'll be automatically deleted. This is where I set the availability of that data. And if I don't want to do that, I can simply just copy a link. Oopsie daisy. Here, copy a link. I get similar options to choose. I copy my link, I stick it in an email, I send it off, job done. And that's how easy it is to share data from the cloud. Now let's take a look at how easy it is to share data locally. So let me select the thing that I want to share. So here's the file that I want to share. I simply right-hand click on it, choose Share, and notice how familiar this looks. I have the option to copy a link. I can select a few more apps. Or I can choose, do I want to edit or not? Set the expiration date, and I have the exact same options I do in the cloud. So now you've seen OneDrive and how it works. Let me show you my second recommendation. If you are, for whatever reason, not happy saving your data with, let's say, Amazon Web Services, Google, OneDrive, whatever, and you want to have your own personal cloud, something that you can make or break, turn on and off as you please, then my recommendation to you is Synology.
This is your NAS, and it serves 24/7 for all your data needs. There are 6 million Synology NAS around the world. That equates to 2,000 Taipei 101 buildings. To maximize uptime, DSM 6.2 has released for optimal system reliability, with more than 50,000 tests conducted for 2,700 hours of testing. Moreover, there are 155 support engineers worldwide offering technical support and consultations for over 280,000 times, and the average response speed has improved by 35% compared with last year. Rest assured that your data is in safe hands, as data security is always our priority. This year, Synology has joined the FIRST team, the recognized global leader in security incident response. Our bug bounty program has rewarded white hat hackers with over $40,000 US. Besides file service from NAS, we also protect your business workloads from other platforms. Active Backup for Business has launched to protect your data on Windows Server, VMware Virtual Machine, and your PC. More than 45,000 companies have installed Active Backup for Business in their IT environments in just 2 months. To further expand data protection to the cloud, the hybrid cloud solution C2 allows you to back up your data from the NAS to our self-constructed cloud, and we got a return of 1 million euros for the first year. Connectivity is an essential part for the NAS. We have launched our first mesh router, MR2200AC, and it's the first WPA3 certified router in the world. The VPN Plus package, exclusive for Synology router, has provided site-to-site VPN service to 1,500 offices around the world. Finally, the surveillance solution protects your physical assets, and there are more than 1 million cameras recorded into NAS. We thank you for your company, and we will continue to provide you with a more reliable solution in the coming years. You are the only reason why Synology continues to pursue perfection.
Synologies are classed as network-attached storage, but let me clarify for you that they are not network-attached storage. They are definitely servers. The amount of things that you can do with these ridiculously powerful boxes is continuously evolving. So here you can see physical hardware, many different shapes and sizes, some for racks, some for also racks or secure rooms, lots of disks, unbelievable networking options, some for SMBs, and a few for home use. Many different shapes and sizes. Do not be fooled though. What runs on all of these that you are looking at here is the exact same operating system. Disk Station Manager, DSM. It doesn't matter whether you get yourself a single disk or a 18 disk machine. It is run by the same OS and you get pretty much the same options. The choice of hardware reflects your need and your level of security and fault tolerance. Focusing specifically on fault tolerance, for example, if you get a single disk unit, you're not going to have fault tolerance. Disk fails, you lose your data. If you get 2 disks, you have the opportunity to select striping for performance, which means when you put a file onto the unit, half of the file goes onto disk 1, half of the file goes onto the other disk, and therefore you can read and write to that file ridiculously quickly. If one of the disks fails, you lose the file altogether, and hence you still don't have any fault tolerance. Or with this device, you could also configure it to have a mirrored setup, which means when you save the file on disk 1, the file is copied to disk 2. And regardless of which disk fails, the other one will then take over. You'll get a warning, and you haven't necessarily lost all of your data. A 4-disk system gives you those two options, striping, mirroring, and the introduction to a few more RAID levels. With this one here, you can set up like a RAID 5 where you can have 1 or 2 disks fail and not essentially lose all of your data. Well, that might not work with a 4-disk. It'll definitely work with the 5 or more disk. The more disks you have, the more fault tolerance and performance opportunities you can select. These devices also have a lot of security built in. So for example, you can have a file system that's running BTRFS, which is an encrypted based file system for added security. You can have layer 2 authentication so that you have to sign in with a random generated code or a text message that's sent to you. If your disks fail, other disks can automatically hot swap for you so you can continue to use your data. You can even have a couple of these devices in a cluster. So if the entire unit dies, the other unit or the other units will take over. They offer you many services such as like Active Directory services, so you can get your file share up and running and actually have users authenticated properly. And much, much, much more. I could stay here and talk to you about Synology all day, but let's not do that. Let's give you a quick preview of DSM. So on this unit, there is no layer 2. It is simply a backup of a backup. A just in case. Here you can see the like AD services that I was talking about. You stick in as many users as you like. You can control the permissions on what they have and what they don't have. You can create lots of shared folders, and it's as easy to access as we looked at earlier on by simply entering in a host name or an IP address. There we are. Hidden backup, backup, syslog. We can explore it by going to our file station. Here you can see. Here you can see. This is also a cloud. It's your own personal cloud. So wherever you are in the world, if you need to access your server, you can configure it so that you are able to do so. And you can do it easily. And here you can see all of my servers. And this is the one that we were just looking at a moment ago. Actually, correction, no, it's not. This is my cluster. This is the one that we were looking at a moment ago. Here you can see the layer 2 in action. Here is the backup we were just looking at, so you can see. And here is my HA cluster. So that was a nice mistake, but there you go. So Synology is awesome. It gives me the possibility to turn on and turn off my cloud whenever I want. I've got a ridiculous host of features. So much stuff going on here. I've got my video station, so I can share my videos to all of my devices. I can remote into this device and download stuff should I want to. I've got a media server. I've got a cloud-based server. All of my photographs. I have a built-in antivirus, connections to G Suite, to OneDrive, hyper backups, resource managers. I've got a lot of stuff going on here. And you might even be able to see a few of the users in this AD-like environment. See? Different people with a few different permissions. So that's Synology for you, and that pretty much concludes our video. I don't recommend going with Windows file services. I certainly don't recommend doing it on a client operating system. Now you've seen OneDrive. I can also highly recommend you use Dropbox or Amazon Web Services, or one of the many other cloud-based solutions for sharing data. Or go with Synology, which is basically a once-off payment for a lifetime of OS updates and software. If you've got any questions or you want to see any more stuff, please do not hesitate to contact me. Thank you all for watching. Take care and bye-bye.